charge of the budget crew on your side? You're one of the,
Well, I was last year, but out of the plan this year.
okay, so we need, you guys need to, we need to appoint her.
Well,
nominee.
the budget committee appoints it.
You need to nominate.
I nominate Charlie Tracy to lead this thing.
Well, are we ready to actually do it officially here?
Or what?
You called it to order, so.
Okay, well, we didn't do it. That's okay.
Michael seconded it.
Okay. Motion been made second, those in favor?
I
All right, Charlie, you're in charge now.
Okay.
You're the boss.
figured
So-
early when you speak up early, you don't have to do the extra.
Do we need a second in charge?
Yep.
Okay. Any volunteers for second in charge? Okay.
Michael.
Michael?
Raise his
Okay.
hand.
Michael, good, okay. So I'll make, well, I can't make that motion, but can somebody?
I'm gonna,
A motion for Michael to be the
Second.
second, okay, Dan, second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Well, this is kind of different this year since we don't have a message and we don't have any kind of outline, so I guess we'll just start with the front of the pages and go through and see where we're at. Under the resources, if there's big changes. So do you have any idea why the adopted is 185,000, but proposed is 75? Is it because of what was spent this year? On the first line?
Yeah, I'm not really sure why that,
well, looking at last year's, we had, at the 18-19 budget, we had proposed 100,000, approved 100,000, yet adopted 185,000.
Right.
So yeah, there's just a question there about.
That-
This
This is
is
last year's.
18,
No, that
19.
was 2017, 18, you were.
This is 18, 19, and I have 17, 18 as well.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, that was 18, 19, so
That,
there must be something.
the difference
That's
between
what's
that,
spent.
you could have approved 100,000, but when the accounting all came down, you actually had more
More money.
than what you projected you'd have.
I'm assuming that's probably what that is, because it is again kind of low, well, yeah, low again, and then, but we still need first.
So it looks like under taxes, projecting $10,000 more than this year to be collected. Licenses and permits is down. That looks about the same. It's close to where we're,
Does anybody have the year-to-date on
exactly, yeah.
on some of these, or any of these? Maybe it would be nice if we had one quick
I
printout.
probably go that one on.
You have a year-to-date for this year?
Well, what may be the most updated?
Yeah, most, I mean, it's
That I
very
haven't
close.
helped, let me double check. and-
One of the biggest questions I think I had on this one was the marijuana tax, I looked at 3%. A budget of just 5, I was just wondering, what have we collected so far? I thought we were starting to collect that after just January 1st, so.
We've had one
Halfway
quarter,
through.
we've
Yeah,
had one
at least
quarter.
We're told it was $9,000 at the
That we
meeting or
brought
so
it up.
for this week. It was a couple weeks ago, I think.
So five might be
Tax
low,
started
which-
getting collected.
January
January
1st,
So we should have first quarter in.
first quarter in.
But I've asked too, and I get, it's kind of right around $9,000 or $10,000.
Is Tanya able to put that?
So if we're only saying
Yes,
5 for the
that's what I
whole year,
We could get a copy of
and
that.
one quarter we got 9,000.
Yeah, I was calculating it
We're
right
way
here.
over, yeah.
$5,000 in tax would be $167,000 in marijuana sales.
Right, so there's probably.
That's not a lot.
No, that's not a lot, so
No.
that's why your 9,000 in a quarter is probably a lot more accurate. And then this number could be bumped if we needed to, if we found a hole somewhere.
Somewhere, right,
So,
right.
obviously, if we're low, that's fine, that's okay too, on the revenue side. So, high on the-
Yeah,
You better be
You're not
low.
overspending it that way.
Right, you better be low on the revenue side.
The beginning fund balance is just the thing that, you know, I think is the biggest what if it's not correct. Most of these look very similar to the years past, so. lodger tax, I see that it went up to, for the 30% up to 40, which we were already at 38 within just 3 quarters, so we'll be, yeah, so we should be
Okay.
over 40. You know, this could be a bigger year. Especially if we start charging construction workers a lodger's tax when they're staying in command camp or other places.
Right.
I think they're technically supposed to be paying it too, so.
Are they supposed to be
Yeah,
down?
it's part of this lodge,
Any
temporary lodge.
public,
Uh-huh.
So it'd be like coal garbage, should be paying it to that kind
You
of
have
thing.
to charge them and then,
Right.
remit that to the state. And
I'm not sure how it works on a monthly, you know, if he's charging by the month rent or certainly not by the day, but I'm sure, you know, base camp, all those places, they have monthly rent tenants,
Right.
so to speak.
Yeah, base camp
But they
has
are
monthly
paying.
and nightly. both.
Yeah, so they do pay, and I'm not sure if the rate, how it
I need to
varies.
find that out too, because I have those 7 spots in the south end of town,
Right.
but they're strictly monthly. I
Right.
don't do any overnight stuff there. But I need to know that, because I don't want to get in trouble. with
Yeah,
that.
and that'd be different if it's classified as an apartment complex compared to, yeah.
It is an apartment complex with 7 RV spots,
So
so.
when you do transient lodging, it's more
Right.
housing almost.
Well, yeah, because it's strictly monthly.
So anyways, that's something we can get clarification on.
Okay.
I think the number's fine though for now, for sure.
Everything else seems pretty close.
Yeah, very
Labor
close.
taxes up.
Imagine that.
people that are saying,
Longer
Yeah, I'm
winters,
assuming that- I'm assuming that we're-
longer winters, the
Right,
winter
yeah.
tax goes up.
yeah,
Have the marijuana help.
yeah.
Smoke a little, drink a lot,
Mhm.
or drink a little, and smoke a lot.
Yeah.
First page.
Now, under materials and services,
We are working on a
are
contract.
we still on that?
Authority,
Oh,
called Bob, the
I
auditor.
think we're pretty
We're
much.
just on
Yes.
himself. That's it, can you send it to my email?
Well, materials fund for the expenditures.
This one here?
Okay.
Yeah, so I had it marked too. Yeah, from 164
It has to be
to
a
611.
typo.
Well,
There's a couple of them in there.
There was
That's
a-
what the
no.
police contract is.
It's under, there was a Lake County Sheriff Police contract, 460,000 is what's added to it.
Oh, that is it, okay.
It's in the
okay.
line item farther
Okay.
back, farther
Yeah,
back.
I saw it there, but I didn't know it had been added to this one, okay.
Okay, so,
Okay,
So I'm
that
assuming-
answers that question.
We're assuming that that's what it
Yeah,
is.
I'm sure. I
Okay.
think you're right, probably.
Right, came under town hall. and-
Are we on that page yet? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can go
but
ahead and
why
look
would
at
that be under town hall though?
I don't know.
Are we on page 3? Where are we at?
3, they're not numbered.
No, they're not numbered. It's a summary of the general
Page
fund
3.
on this
It
one.
is page 3.
Yeah, the expenditures, summary of general fund expenditures.
Under materials and services.
And then
Right.
like air quality went from 15,000 down to 9,600?
Isn't air quality is part of that?
So it went from
That's
materials
for
and
the
services
DEQ.
and 44, no, yeah, 4,400 of that, or,
So
sorry,
it's
5,400 of that got split into a different line
Up in,
within that
it's
budget.
up in personnel services,
When we get there.
54.
Yeah.
Personnel, it's right up here, yeah,
Yeah.
5,400 is in personnel services, that was.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, it
so,
wasn't there before.
yeah, so that's right there. Okay,
See, in the planning department, it's lowered too.
Yeah, went from 5285 to 3,300.
and maybe that's projected off of what we've spent
But
so
it
far
also
this
went up,
year.
it also went up by over 6,000, over 5,000 up above,
Yeah.
too, so.
Which we would think
I
it should
did have a question about
increase,
that.
given the construction that's been going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, revenue should have increased, but this is expenditures area,
Yeah.
so I'm just wondering, was there an agreement made with Janine to actually pay more?
No, because under the salaries later on, hers is the same.
Yeah.
But-
Is it?
Yeah, it's either 15 or 16,000.
Why do we have two? Oh, that's personnel, okay.
So we're kind of bouncing around on this. but-
Yeah, this is really, yeah.
I think we need to just.
I think as, this is the summary, so as we get into those, each of those budgets, we can look at that.
Okay.
Looks like you might have $1,000 because the total resources are $1,380,000. And total expenses are $1,379,000, so that must be for lunch.
Yeah, we spent that
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to go to the expenditure? Well, I don't have any numbers marked in the expenditures page. In my budget.
I do. Town manager, I wanna know why I went from 78,000 to 70.
Of course, I'm in the
Well, you're back there.
dispatch thing. I don't know where.
You don't know where you're at.
I'm kind of like trying to, oh, there it is. Okay, I see where you're at right here. I went to page, 2 pages. Okay, so town manager went down.
Yeah, from 78,000 to 70.
Is that because you're gonna hire?
Probably because we won't be hiring a new manager at the same time.
We're still got, well, it depends on the qualifications. And you are not gonna get anybody to even look at this job for 70,000 a year.
Well, you're probably right, but I
Nobody
think
that's
that's the
even close
reason
to
she did
qualified.
that was, you know.
So why is there no finance clerk?
That was my other question.
Well, and that's the thing
Yeah,
is we
it's a
have
big
extra help and a
question.
huge jump in admin assistant, $5,000 increase.
I think that is because we don't have a finance clerk. I mean, Tana is doing it and got an increase in pay for that.
She's doing the finance clerk and the admin assistant.
Well, we need to get a, we need
We
to
need
have
a
a regular
finance clerk.
finance.
Yeah,
Clerk.
well, that's true, but this is,
These are our questions, yeah, you got
We
a
need a
budget for
budget
it.
for next
These
year.
are just some of the questions that we need to get.
Right.
And I agree that this council should, this group should think about this town manager spot on, putting it at 70. We should give some flexibility for ourselves within this budget to allow for the possibility of hiring somebody that's qualified and not a beginner.
I think it should be about
It should
85,000.
be, yeah, I think putting it at 80, might be a lot better.
And we also have a
Um,
huge difference, I would assume this is possibly due to police.
Because the budget for this year was 78.
Medical and dental and all that went down half.
but then we have to cut something else to make it balanced too, so.
Yeah, exactly, that's what we need
The
to
medical and
just.
dental, if that, oh, that's just for town hall.
Yeah.
That's
So
just
why
for
to go
town
from
hall.
75 to 36? Because I guarantee
I
that's.
just wonder if
not
it's
the
being
direction.
shifted from,
From this
one
account
of
to
the other
another one.
accounts, yeah.
Because that was, they did
Putting
that with
some on public
the.
works.
Yeah,
putting
something
some
like
on-
that,
Yeah.
But it seemed like across the board, a lot of these were lower on some of the medical stuff.
Well, what's our, which I find hard to believe, but I mean, like, in actuality.
So why is your medical dental half of it
It sounded like-
Yeah, that's a big,
though? That's a big chunk.
I'm pretty sure the rates went up, not down.
And your retirement contribution is half.
So our proposed budget for 2018-19 was 466, and our proposed for this year is 968.
The police spot comes
Is
into
that
this, the police contract.
Oh,
is
yeah,
60.
for 460, okay, that makes more sense. Woo.
Your engineer retainer is down.
Well, if you look for, you'll see engineer line
Multiple
items
spots.
for every
Yes.
possible thing it could be.
Well, there always used to be engineers in multiple spots.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's missing
Yeah.
$20,000 here.
Yeah,
Which is a big chunk.
unless they increase it in the other areas because of the focus of where he's looking.
Yeah, I had a question mark by that one too, about Charlie, because
Well, there's another one down here that, look at the engineer retainer.
that's what
That's
we were
what we're
looking at.
Yeah, 34.5 down to 10.
Yeah.
Whoa,
The dues are up $2,000. I don't know where that's,
Okay, so I'm seeing some increase.
and memberships.
Yeah, 600 to 3,000.
I guess I would want to know what memberships they were.
Exactly.
So engineering service, yeah, the engineering service is going down everywhere, in each subcategory.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, I went in the street fund, it went from $5,000 to $2,000 for engineering services.
Well, the street fund overall dropped.
Well,
by
the services would have
$50,000.
been what he actually did, isn't it?
And then
And he wouldn't be doing the water system or any other things.
the park went from
Where's the
35 to
retainer?
1,000.
Well, the
Well, the
retainer covered
services,
us a
yeah.
certain amount,
Right.
yeah, and then it went over, then he billed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then the
We're
retainer
trying
would
to
go
cut
down
that
if all the
expense.
services are coming under budget.
Right.
Yeah, they
Well,
are.
and the plans may need at least as many services needed this next budget year. Right?
You would think that there's gonna be more with the water system that
But
we're putting in
actually-
and finishing Red Rock and the solar
just got a
project
splash
that's
park
going
on
in.
here,
Splash
so
park's
we're gonna
on
need
there.
that.
There's-
When we got your special projects, going up $7,500, so you would think there would be
More
services,
projects,
more
yeah.
services then,
Well, we can always start with Head Start, that's the only one that has numbers.
yeah. Well,
That's a zero.
Is any of the, well, Head Start is done with.
I know. That's
You know, like is the head of departments here, that they could maybe explain part of this? Because I would have think they would have thought they would have put part of it together, because that's what they've done in the past.
We
And they
have
could have maybe
Jeff
explained-
here.
Is Jeff here, that we could maybe come and
About
talk
the
about
housing
some?
one,
But that's in the road
He's-
department.
Well, Public Works.
Jeff hasn't even looked at this budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff's not gonna be able to answer any questions, because I
But
talked
he-
to him earlier.
And he
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
help put any of it together?
Nope. He has not seen this budget. I talked to him at 10:30, because I told him, I said, did you realize that the street fund went down $50,000? And he about dropped the phone. Because I haven't seen the budget, the bird just told me everything was fine and good to go. Because, but I haven't been given a copy of the budget yet.
So the one person that put everything together is,
It's
Not here.
And I've asked, I have a document, I've asked for year-to-date budgets numerous times, and every time I get the same one, I reply back to them, it's the same budget I get every time, it's basically what we're looking at here for last year. I've never seen,
I've never seen any year-to-dates or it's been asked for numerous.
So we're kind of hopping
Around,
around.
this is gonna be kind of a tough, go.
Can we kind of get back to going from
Page to page.
page 4?
Yeah.
so I guess we need to kind of look at
But
the
then-
numbers.
Are you, Charlie, are you actually just noting these that we need to talk about
I'm just
still?
marking
Get
them off, that
clarification
they're the
on?
ones that we need.
Yeah, because,
Yes.
yeah, the engineer thing, that's kind of a big deal.
Right, the
There's
engineering thing.
24,000 and change missing there, 24,500.
So you're going to page 4, which is general fund
Or
expenditures, right? Is that where you're at?
Yes.
So, do you want to just start from the top?
So, the town hall is,
Yeah, yeah.
no, town hall is reduced because of there not being any
Finance.
finance.
But we
Which we
need
need
to,
clarification on that.
put
Yeah,
that
so that, town
position
manager, I think
in
we need
there.
to bump all time.
Right, town
Talk
manager, I
about
put down 80,000 because we figured that we needed that. The finance clerk, we need.
so what are we making?
What's the
Well, I'm
cost of-
assuming it's gonna be close to the same as what it was before, the 48,000.
We also have an increase in minimum wage, which kind of affects.
Yeah, that don't usually affect your top end employees by very much.
I don't know what I call it.
Well,
What do you want?
50,000 a year is way above minimum wage.
50,000 is
Fifty?
adequate.
I would.
Right.
So, they can cut hours. Admin assistant is up, and I'm assuming that that is because of extra duties.
Mhm.
Actually, if you look at some of these, is this before or after their raises?
Well, some of it should be after their raises,
It
part of
should
the
be
increase is
after.
because of the
Yeah.
raises.
The new
You know,
employees, the
right.
new employees will be after, it'll be what they're hired at, which will be
Right.
after whatever they
Yeah.
negotiate.
We have an
contract, so-
actual in 16-17 of 52,000. Somehow we've managed to drop that.
When I had
We
dropped
broke
it, they
it into
just,
different positions.
Mhm.
So we need to look at, if we were paying 52,000 a couple of years ago, we need to be somewhere in that same area with the same amount of staff, or not. I mean, we have, what, technically two and a half? I guess does Chris
Two.
count as a half?
who?
Chris?
Chris
She's
is,
only there 1 or 2 days a week for like 3 hours, yeah.
Where's she getting paid out of?
The police fund.
That doesn't exist now on this budget?
No, it's just a,
It'll be,
no, it looks like an
46,
ounce.
460.
So really, we need our utility clerk and our admin clerk.
We need,
Well,
there should be a utility clerk,
yes,
an admin assistant, and a finance clerk.
so we need to put budget in for that.
I don't see the,
So is part of that covered under the extra help in the ordinance? Well, the ordinance officer, I'm saying,
That would be
that's
totally
totally new,
separate.
that's a new
And
position.
that's gonna create additional work, but the extra
Right.
help, they did have somebody else in here part-time, but it didn't last very long. So,
So that would probably go someplace else then.
Yeah, we need to eliminate extra help and just do admin assistant and utility clerk. And that'd be-
So this, the extra help in this part-time ordinance officer, that's something needs to be,
That's good.
hashed out
Yeah,
a little more.
that's probably gonna end up, that money's gonna end up being put in towards the city manager or finance clerk.
So really we
Because
need to
$10,000 isn't enough for an ordinance officer to even consider trying to get somebody in here to do anything at $10,000 per year.
Well, you can, you just gotta be inventive.
How are you gonna pay somebody wages for 12 months for $10,000?
It's not a full-time rate, it's a part-time,
Even
independent
part-time.
contractor probably.
You're looking at somebody that's no more than a week.
Nope, you could do 10,000 a year for $20 an hour, 10 hours a week.
For a day or-
Couple hours a day, 3 hours a day, is what I'm doing.
Well, no, it'll be
Well,
less than that.
Yeah, we just need to spend more time on that,
because
get
that-
clarification.
Okay.
And we can't hash out that job description right now.
And the medical dental life, I'm thinking she's got that reduced because she took positions out, and so there's gonna be fewer people
Mhm.
getting paid medical dental.
Well, we've talked about the ordinance officer in
Yeah,
various
so- yeah.
meetings, but we haven't really nailed it
Yeah, we have no
down.
idea what she put that in there,
Okay.
what expectation.
Yeah. Okay,
That still seems a huge drop in medical dental for one person.
well, it's based on, yeah,
We've only eliminated one
one
position.
position, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that's.
Same with
So just
retirement
we need
dropped
to
in
ask
half.
those questions there. Okay.
And hers is the same, which,
Should we go down to the materials and services? The engineer retainer, we have a question on. Why is that so different? And I have questions on the dues and the memberships.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, big increase.
LOC and LGP.
Right, and then the memberships line below it is
Yeah.
like $2,400 more.
Question on
Everything else
that.
looks the same there. Okay. Software support, you guys getting more software?
It's for Cassell and internet, which Cassell is what we use for accounting, for internet, and I believe, that's a big increase, $5,000.
Is that dues, or you know?
That's for, like, right now, we just had Tana call Cassell, they charge us to be available essentially.
Right.
And I think if we have a finance director in there, we probably won't have as much of a need for that.
Right. But it might be a flat rate that you
And
have
if
to
we
pay,
if we
yeah.
had the finance director, we wouldn't need to
I thought it was.
be paying Cassell $1,200 a month.
What was that
Well-
rate?
But, yeah,
Yeah.
we'd be paying a clerk a lot more than 1,200.
Well, you probably still would if it's supporting the software.
No, let me,
There's a benefit.
what they're paying Tona now is what they paid the last finance officer. And we didn't do a contract with Cassell.
Okay.
So they're paying Tona this. What Tona does, he enters everything into Cassell. Cassell goes through everything. Then back tells her she can print the checks. So we're paying Cassell
To be the finance.
to be the finance.
To be the finance
See, so
manager.
that's costing us $1,200 a month for that. And before, we never did that. The finance officer did it all.
Well, yeah.
Well, I think we got to sell when Shelley was there.
Well,
Yeah, my issues.
we gotta find someone with experience, that's
So-
all there is to it.
So Cassell is definitely a growing program that's being looked at, and the county's looking at around 30 for the whole county. Or maybe it was 25. I mean, it's very similar to what we're paying, a very smaller portion. So there needs to be some options that are looked at there.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. I think this is fine at 20.
Okay. Okay, so
Hopefully
that's,
we can be fine with that. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's our
Yeah.
true
No,
cost.
that's-
We're not,
yeah.
there's no.
But maybe we need to explore other options,
Yeah.
is that what you're thinking?
Well, we kind of did, but I'm not saying explore other options of software options. I'm just possibly, do we want to contract? with
Do
somebody else
something with
to
the
do-
county,
Yeah.
county,
because
city, do something
Well,
They
together.
were thinking about doing something else too.
Would it give us a bigger discount if we collaborated?
Do they have different levels of service, you know, like Casella?
Because they probably do.
You know, like different,
Right.
where
I'm sure they do.
get more, get less, or whatever.
On the side.
We just need to look at that, but just now, let's keep going.
Okay. The Lake County Sheriff Police contract, is that about right?
That's for three.
Yeah.
That's for
it's-
three officers.
That's for three
officers.
officers. If we do the fourth, which we do need to do, it'll go up to 628,000, and there's a contingency built into this budget for that.
Okay, 628 for four.
So there's a.
Yeah, see this contingency
okay,
for
yeah.
128, that's for the
Yeah.
fourth
That's
officer.
for the fourth one, okay. Okay.
So we had originally budgeted the year before,
Yeah.
so we need to look at, because we had this entire, 600 and some, so where's $200,000 been dispersed essentially?
605,000.
Yeah, 605.
However, that was also a last minute, there was a last minute addition to this because we never adopted the $20 onto your water bill, which was for
Safety fee.
safety.
Which is later in the contract, in this budget, by the way.
Again?
It is again, yes, I have that note on there. So that's why I'm confused by that. So we did that 605 with, and that's why I'm trying to find it on here, and I don't see that utility fee. in
No,
the
but what ended up
605.
happening was that then we did a transfer in to cover it. $600,000 transfer in to cover it last.
Yeah, it makes sense why you put something aside.
How it got said was, oh, we killed somebody.
Well, so that's the thing, is like, we have
65,000.
605, so somewhere numbers were inflated? Because there's no utility fee on this.
In last year's budget, yeah, we had a public safety fee of 65,000, proposed, approved, and then not adopted, and then.
So it's not on this.
Yeah, this police budget, there's no public utility.
Yeah, so I'm like, the money wasn't really ever there in this
No,
budget.
no, and that's why we had the problem.
Because it,
Doing
looking
it.
at, well, I see there's a huge increase in the, I think what happened, which I obviously don't know, is that maybe numbers were increased. But even then, looking at these numbers, there's no numbers increased.
But it doesn't really matter.
It might have just been coming straight out of like beginning fund balance or tenancy or something else. I mean, it was there and then,
So we have $200,000.
We need to move on because
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter at this point because we're under a different contract. We've got the
Yeah.
numbers that we need.
But we need to figure out where $200,000 is from the police budget now within our other budget, or we need to.
What do you mean we're 200,000?
Well, if we were, assuming we took on the same amount from last year, carry over, because we still need to use some of that police budget for, the building use and things like that, for the sheriffs.
Fire
Are we gonna
department
pay it
took-
out of
fire
460?
department- No.
There's a
Fire
person,
department- Fire department took over all the maintenance of the building and the utilities of the building.
We'll see that.
the officer's not in there paying
There's
anything?
one officer in there,
There's one
Tag will be in
officer
there for the
using
EMS, and that's it. It's only in there 1 day a week.
And we agreed to allow him to do that
Exactly.
with no extra, no rental fee.
With no
for
cost
that
to the
office.
sheriff's department, because he's only gonna be in there 1, maybe 2 days a week, unless there's a natural disaster, then he'll be in there so he can work with 911 business.
Okay, we just need to account for that in the,
It's accounted for that, it's in the fire, it's in the
Fire
fire
budget.
budget.
that's right, yeah.
It's all of
It's
it.
not in there, though. It's actually accounted for.
Okay, so, moving on, what is the EIS program?
Yeah, that was a question I had too.
Me too, I do. Do you know what that is, Ray?
I'm
EIS?
trying to think.
$2,500,
Yeah.
2,550.
Epidemic
No, I don't.
Intelligence
I don't.
Service. Or,
You mark it though.
And special projects, you guys know what kind of capital outlay special projects are that?
No idea.
Okay, should we go on to the next page? Going here? Okay, so legal services,
Yeah, look at that one.
we came here went up.
Yeah, 15.
The services went up by 6. and the retain-
6,000.
I see the retainer going up, because I think that goes up every year.
Yeah, it's kind
I've
of a
seen
cost
it,
of
it's a
living
con,
type
yeah.
of- type of thing,
But the services portion, I guess, is up, and I don't know if it's because of things that are going on.
There has been,
Yeah.
I think,
I think that's probably a fair assessment, maybe more than that.
Yeah, yeah.
We probably exceeded that this year.
We'll leave that there.
I
Okay.
guarantee you we exceeded the
have.
4,000 this year.
we have, I remember seeing something.
So the police, we are not doing
Nope.
anything because we don't have any numbers yet. Okay, the road, in the fire department, we're not doing any, oh no,
Yeah,
no
we're
numbers
doing
yet,
something.
so, okay. So $20,000 decrease because of,
Nobody knows.
My understanding, and I could be wrong, is because. That was still dispatch. Because our
Did we bypass air quality?
They're not there yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
fire person is now dispatch, but that only eliminates
Oh,
the
I see.
supervisor.
No, fire person's
Turn the
always
page
been
wrong.
dispatched, always.
always. they're
Well, no, I
always-
meant our supervisor.
Yeah, well,
So that's only gonna affect.
Yeah, we just need
medical and
clarification,
dental.
we, I don't
Need
think any of
clarification.
us know for
What,
certain.
and what about the fire chief? That's a huge, is he now full-time?
No, but, go ahead, Ray.
That, well, there's gonna be some changes made there, so we can't really talk about them just yet. That position is gonna end up being, like a two-position. So
Like a two-position.
that's gonna be changing.
yeah, be careful about what you say.
Yeah,
It's
that's
under
all.
contract.
Part of that
so there's not a whole lot
40,000
we can do there.
part-
You
part
know,
of
Okay,
that-
so 40,000 is good for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Okay.
part of that increase, I believe, is what the 20,000 difference is in the line above.
Yeah, that, well,
The
there could be,
20,000
yeah.
decrease in that is where some of that 40 is
Okay.
at.
So this is my concern, going down to building maintenance. So previously, the police department paid for part of that building maintenance because they shared the building. Now we have half the cost, however, fire actually is incurring the entire cost now of heating, maintenance and all that.
And
So
that's the
we
question
can't
we're-
increase it by,
Where is that?
Right here.
and same with the utilities, they're
Okay,
going
yeah,
to
I
be
just
using
looked at
the
that one.
utilities
Okay.
or taking that bill on. Now I see $1,000 increase, but I don't know if that's.
And actually, the utility should go down, because they're not gonna have the cops in and out, they're not gonna
Right.
be heating that half of the building.
Or they're still using it just as much.
I think they'll heat it all.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think it's,
They're using it all.
it's probably is all in one big system.
But the question, I see where Nikki's at here, is the question is, why did building maintenance cut in half and pull the police department out of it? It should have went up to about 10 or 12,000 from 8.
And that's where the money from the police department should have transitioned over somehow. If, my understanding was that there was gonna be an officer in there full time, I didn't know it was
No.
only gonna be a minimum.
So
But
we need
there
to
is an
see-
entire room for him currently.
Should we capture that in the notes to ask for?
Yeah, I'm kind of writing some notes, so I
Yeah.
can remember.
So we need to,
And I actually,
Yeah,
I think that's the
okay.
last one. When you look at the bottom line on all this though, on fire, it's
It's-
$1,000 difference roughly.
yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
there's not much to really discuss on that.
Okay, air quality,
Add a little.
remains the same, air quality, guys, okay?
I don't think there's any big changes. Don's wanting to know on that.
So are we anticipating a year after year after year, $15,000 grant from, DEQ?
I think as long as we have an air quality officer, they will
give us the
they'll give us the
15.
15,000 grant, because I asked for Bert about that a long time
Okay.
ago.
To truly take care of the expenses.
Okay.
At least that's my understanding at this point.
Okay. The planning department,
Has increased by,
$5,000 for the official.
Which was, you know, I remember only a couple of years ago, it finally went up from 9 to 10, and it shows it on here. But this going to 15, I'm not sure where that's coming from, why. And if you look at the bottom, there's a transfer to the pool fund, 5,000, I'm not sure if maybe there's some
there is, in
correlation.
almost every budget, there's a transfer to.
But this one's
Pool fund.
different,
This one's in
coming from
different
the
spots.
planning, I'm not sure why it's even coming from planning, which is a general fund, why the transfers are usually coming from like the street fund or the
Right.
utility
Yeah.
fund to pay for the.
yeah, I got that marked as a
There's
question.
nothing in our previous one.
So I'm not sure about that one.
dollars.
Okay.
So clarification on that and the
Now,
planning
what-
official, if there was.
What was the first one, was the planning official?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why it went up 5,000.
Engineering expense went down by 2,000.
And then also her workman's comp, her wages went up, but her workman's comp went down. That's
Yeah.
not how workman's comp works.
Generally not.
We would like to think.
Yeah.
Because if so, I'm giving everybody in my office raises, so my workman's comp will go down.
State unemployment went down as well.
Yeah, that definitely.
Yeah, that doesn't work that way.
And
Yeah, it went
I-
down by half.
Going back, I kind of been keeping an eye on it, this holiday vacation line in here.
Something's wrong with it.
Yeah, $2,000 for 3 people
It's not very-
in
Yeah.
town hall, but 5,200 for the fire department, and they don't get paid. I mean, some of them,
They get
the
paid,
911 guys
yeah, on the holiday.
and stuff, but
There's not,
Unless
There's
we're
no logic.
eliminating it.
there's no logic to a lot of what.
those should be built on formulas.
Mm-hmm.
You've got this many people, they make this much, bam, that's an easy number to find.
They
So-
make this much, they're getting this much for holiday pay.
They have 3 holidays and 2 weeks of vacation every year.
Exactly.
It should be a
That's
solid
pretty-
number, not a rounded.
They
Yeah,
earn more than.
yeah,
So our planning department.
yeah, I agree with those numbers are a little low, I think.
Do you know what the HUD special project is?
What the what?
The HUD special project?
Housing rehab investments for 20 grand?
I think that's what that is.
I'm
Is
sure
what
it's
they're
for the HUD, probably it's the HUD with the housing rehab investments, but how would that
So,
affect?
so let's just
Like
quickly make sure we're
$20,000.
understanding, we ended general fund right before talking about HUD.
Yeah.
General fund ends, so these are special accounts here on. Yeah, that's sat there, it seems like.
Okay, so,
There's
so it says
nothing
housing rehab
from last
investments,
year.
20,000. It does
Maybe
say
there's
housing
some grant.
rehab investments.
Yeah, but there's nothing from,
Yeah,
There's
there's
nothing
nothing
really-
from last year.
supposed to be a
So-
grant.
Right.
Yeah, grant.
Yeah, but they had a contingency last year. They show, if you look down there, they've had a contingency the last 2 years. And that went from 500 to 520 to
Simply because
1804.
they had income and nothing to do with
Right.
it, so.
Yeah,
That was
so
contingency.
something must be.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is, a-
We'll leave
this,
that one.
this fund is starting with saying that we actually have some HUD money right now. I'm not sure where that's coming from.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It didn't show
this
up
last
in
year.
last year's budget
No.
at all.
No,
So,
so.
maybe it's a
So we
transfer
need
from
to,
somewhere else.
we need to know where that came from.
I almost.
I didn't realize it was
I just
still.
wonder if there's maybe
Is it
some,
attached?
I wonder if it's the remaining little bit left on the block.
Oh,
My
She
only
got it,
thought
I think.
Okay. That makes
Is that it went from the block.
Yeah, our department is doing entry.
That's a question, something we gotta look at.
Okay, that was another question.
Right, okay,
And
so
then
now
we
we're-
also had things.
Yeah.
Any emergency 911?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that where we're at, is 911?
It'd be nice to know year to date on the 911 taxes. I mean, it seems like we keep hearing that they keep going down because, you know, less landlines and that's where the taxes are collected from, so, just a question mark I have on that, just where we're at year to date on that.
Yeah,
And
well,
then
she's got it the same.
Yeah, it's the same as all previous years and.
Well, a little bit more last year, but you know, they do have a tax now on the cell phone, so.
Yeah, the
You know,
911
they've
tax and
they've
so
been
forth.
had that for the last.
And then
few
this,
years.
But
this
isn't that
trans,
based on wherever you got your cell
Yeah,
phone?
it's a revenue sharing part of it.
I'm not sure where it's based on. I just know
It's not
they
necessarily-
just
It's not here.
finally got around to adding that
It's
as a
not
tax.
Mine
Yeah,
is
it's not
down.
necessarily here, I don't think.
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
Wherever.
Never thought of that.
With the number.
what's this transfer in program support? And that went up $20,000, $19,000.
And where's that coming from?
Make it balance. I'm guessing, I'm
Yeah,
just
like
guessing.
true, yeah, but who are we still?
Where did
Yeah.
that
Sewer
sewer come
fund or the
from?
water?
The general
Those
fund.
are the only two that's coming from.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the general.
No,
we
because the
closed
general fund doesn't really, yeah,
Yeah, it's either we're sewer
make
or
a
water.
profit.
Maybe it'll show up later.
Dispatchers, so there's no cost of living raise for the dispatchers?
Not
We
yet.
don't know because we're in the middle of negotiation.
So that's going to be higher then?
Well, it could be.
It will be,
And I mean,
it will
I don't know
be.
what the starting wage is, but is it minimum wage?
So this,
Well, you can't guess that because it's a union contract, so the wages can change dramatically or they
But
can
you
stay
still
the
need to
same.
put it in.
Well, yeah, that should probably be like closer to
Well,
195 or
It
200.
would probably come out of whatever the contingency is or something.
Well, there's a maybe some $1,000 or double.
She don't have a
overtime.
contingency built in.
but I noticed management went up.
So I think there's something there that I think we kind of know a little bit about, but it shouldn't be discussed right now in this about personnel.
So maybe the wages is different because there's part-time dispatcher wages now.
Part-time
maybe make it
dispatcher
to
might
where
be.
whereas the
Always
wages
had
might be
part-time.
Clerks
less.
have always had part-time dispatchers.
Yeah, because then if that's one position, our medical dental are 26,000.
But it wasn't in last year, that's why I was wondering.
Something's there that we're not seeing, which
I
we
don't know
just
why that
want
wasn't in
clarification.
the part-time dispatcher.
And the overtime portion was coming.
We're looking at
Yeah.
increasing that budget roughly.
They had to do a huge increase of overtime because they go over budget every single year and overtime, every year. Because of how the current contract is negotiated.
Right.
So I'm trying to be careful about
No,
what I
no,
say and how I say
You look at
it.
the
No, and I
actuals from
remember that from
16 and
last year, that there was an
17. Yeah.
issue,
And there's-
with that.
I mean,
From
it's
some
hopefully-
2,000 and 6,000.
And actually what's going on is a little bit illegal, but,
Yeah.
yeah, but we can't talk about it, so I gotta shut up before I get in trouble.
Yes, you better.
Yeah.
Just to remind you all, we are being recorded.
Our workers' comp went down significantly, so that's something we need to look at too. Shouldn't be that low.
Are you still on the
Did
same
you end
page?
up though in a, like were you in a higher rate before and you ended up getting a lower rate?
Well, that's our
this next
fire,
year?
that's our homeowner's insurance. We went from a,
No, I'm talking about,
Oh, our
because
workers-
say
Workers'
workers'
comp.
comp will reduce, it could be reduced
It
if
can be, as
if
long as
you
you don't
had-
have
If you
20.
had
you go a
good
period of
26
time
percent.
Without
Yeah,
claims,
it
it
could
can
go
be
down, it
reduced.
can be
Yeah,
reduced.
it
So-
does if you go a
Right.
period of time without any
Yeah,
claims.
yeah, and so.
If you have
know,
claims, it goes way up.
I'm just giving the benefit of the
I
doubt
would be
there,
shocked if it
okay?
went down that much, but I would
Well,
love it.
you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I've had some pretty big drops in the workers' comp.
Yeah, so, okay, down into expenses.
There's that EIS services again, Executive Information Services. That is what that is. So that carries over to our.
That's something totally new.
So what is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
This EIS, Executive Information Services. Right, put that one on my list here.
It is a public safety software development firm specializing in the development of information systems for, which I'm not sure why we would do with.
Did Scott, talk to us about that one time, going to this?
Well, but
There's something.
Early on, we did.
It's in other things besides the 911 budget though, I think.
For large and smaller
Mhm.
agencies.
Yeah, it's from the town-
So it's
the
for
town
police,
hall.
sheriff,
Yeah.
corrections, dispatch, so I'm not sure what we need that for.
There's some town hall again. So it's roughly 10,000 when you put those two numbers together, I'm not sure if there's more than that.
So it has to-
Just a question about it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just some clarification on it, what it is.
Wow, that's good.
Utilities went down again.
Yeah.
Maintenance contract went down, but it's more in line with where it was in previous years.
The
Last
actuals.
year, yeah, I would look at that as an anomaly.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
they must have had to do something over there for the building.
Weren't they upgrading a lot of their lights and they were doing?
They
quite a
did,
few
they
I
things.
think
did some
they-
remodeling over
Yeah,
there.
they upgraded some doors,
They
I
did quite a
think.
few things.
Yeah, I think they
I
did.
think they did the
Yeah.
doors and stuff over there at the fire
Yeah.
department.
Why do we have a copier expense in every division that has never been used before?
Because I bet it- you're leasing your machines and you pay per copy.
That's, I mean, why did we start doing that all of a sudden this year? 'Cause-
Copy machines, they've always, I think,
Well, that's what
They're
she's,
not in any
when
of
the
the
police
past
were there,
budgets.
they had to.
that's
pay
what
for
she's
them.
asking.
They're not in any
It's
of our
never been
past
budgeted.
budgets.
Because that was probably, for the fire department, was probably in the police budget at one time.
Right.
I believe it was,
And now it's over in the fire department. going like this.
because we just bought a new one for here.
Okay. Okay, so that looks like everything but fire. Here's the next page. The street budget.
But did we look at this 911 equipment where we had
We have nothing.
14,000 last year and we had nothing this year?
Yeah, because they upgraded that whole system last year from the state.
Well, that might be this EIS or whatever it
Okay.
is, so it might be a wash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that was the big year they did all those upgrades.
Maybe that's what they did, is use that program, yeah. And we don't have any.
Okay, so we're on page,
Of course, these pages were numbered.
well, I'm numbering mine as we go. so.
Yeah.
You're the smart one.
It's easy to make notes that way rather than trying to mark it all on here.
Ah, yeah.
No, that was-
So we have a $26,000 decrease.
You have a $50 decrease.
Okay, street.
Then the highway funds are a lot higher.
And I just had a question as to why.
No,
That's true.
they were 481,000 last year and they're 436 this year.
Well, we have
For the
grant,
totals.
which we don't have this year.
We should just move money around then, that's all. Because
So the-
if you look at the line item, there's a huge difference.
Grant,
You look
we're
at,
not
you look at your
Yeah.
total,
Yeah.
but it's
right.
that grant that we lost.
Yeah, it's the,
Was that just a 2-year grant or does anybody know anything
I
about it?
don't know anything about it.
I'll ask Jeff about
What,
that.
why are our state highway funds so
Right, yeah,
So-
that's what my, yeah.
Specifically, what questions do we have on this page?
Which-
Highway funds,
Highway funds, why there's almost a $30,000 increase.
SCA grant.
Where's highway funds at?
up a
The
couple?
third line down.
State highway funds, okay.
So in that CMAX stuff is like, I believe that's Red Rock, which
Yeah, that's for
we've
that.
had in the budget for a couple of years and never actually spent it. So it's income here and also expenditure.
expense, yeah.
CMAC is that state fund that we get for special.
And it's for academies.
So I don't know unless we had a reason to have, looking down the number that really changes, the weekend duty for personnel. If we maybe had a year-to-date ending of higher numbers, I'm not sure, due to snow, things like that. We definitely need to figure out why that's so
Why is
high.
that?
Yeah.
Medical records.
How often do you guys see the financial statements? Just out of curiosity.
Every quarterly we get.
Okay.
We get check registers. We
Yeah,
don't
we
have
don't get
year-to-dates or,
My date is not great.
Using that company, you would think they'd be able to print you out of
Yeah,
here.
really
Mhm.
simple.
Or, you know, the time picking up to today's date.
man, you should be able to
Okay,
put
anything
in
else on page?
January 1st.
On the
today's
highway
date,
funds or
year-to-date.
the street fund questions?
Well, again, just the
Medical,
medical, dental, and life.
The
went
weekend
down.
duty went up a lot.
I'm
Because you did-
assuming that it maybe
Yeah,
was
it's
due to the
2000.
heavy
About
snow and
$4,300.
rains.
Yeah, but we had more snow in 17 and 18 than we did last year. We had way more in 17 and 18 than we did this year.
But this,
No, we'll have the snow after Christmas this year, in January, February.
And the rain.
The first year I was here, we had more snow.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about this
That
year.
was actually 3 years ago.
but is it coming out of this fund with the snow plowing?
Well, if it's street fund, it would be any type of,
Because I
That could
don't, I
be
didn't
our
see the
increase
money
on
from
that.
the, you know, like the breakout of the dollar that we paid,
yeah.
you know, for the.
Oh,
Could be in our
the snow
revenue.
plowing.
Yeah.
or-
But that's a private contractor, but I think this is isn't this talking about the crew, the actual Jeff's
Right,
crew?
right, but I, yeah.
Because
I
I
think
think
there's a separate fund for the
yeah,
snow.
there is
I
a
think
separate,
there's a
there is a
different
separate
fund
page for that.
For the snow,
Yeah.
okay.
There is.
Yeah,
So-
we just need to figure out why
So the
the weekend
weekend
duties
duty
would
wouldn't be.
increase.
No,
snow
they
plow.
have somebody on duty to check the water stuff.
It
and
could
everything.
be. part-
Every-
So it's paying like 1 hour of every
Right,
6 or
they have to
something
go
like
down and
that.
check the
It could be
pumps
like a
and stuff.
bursted
Yeah,
water
On
line.
every day.
They don't
They're
have
they're also called out if somebody
Town water line.
needs a water shut off or something.
We
Yeah,
had, we
on
had a
weekends.
burst water
Yeah.
line at our house.
But
and
there
we
is always
called
somebody,
on
one
Sunday
person
morning
on
to have
call
them
for
Come turn
the
the water
weekend.
off. And they said it would be more expensive to us to come and turn the water off, to pay for that, so let the water run.
And it was a town,
Yeah, it was on our,
or
on
on
our
town
house,
property,
Fifth and
not
H.
on
It
private.
was at Fifth and H. But that's what we were told. To let the water continue to
That's
run, it would be
encouraging.
cheaper for us.
Well, turning it off and on is expensive, so that's all I can tell you. I don't know why they But that's a waste of water, I
It's a
don't
good
like
thing.
it.
Well, and imagine if we were in a drought
But
during
it would
that
have cost us
time.
more to do that. I would prefer to have, to pay the extra money to have.
Or the
them do
damage
it.
it could potentially cause.
Well, you know, it's just a waste of
How long
water.
was it running? No, never mind.
She said Sunday.
Almost 24 hours. Yeah. Remember that.
And then your water
Okay.
bill went up,
Oh, yeah. Because we paid for it, yeah.
makes sense.
So,
Let's see, utilities are increased by 10,000.
now, the
Is
utility,
engineering?
this is, the utilities, so this is not like the street lights and that type of thing? Okay.
Fuels up, I mean, I understand.
Fuel's down.
Fuel's down by
We're down, I
2,000.
mean,
Yeah,
So
the-
that, I mean, how
Yeah,
do you
right.
cut your fuel bill in half and have more to maintain? I'd like to know that logic. Cause mine, they got 2,000 for the year. Mine runs 500 a month,
yeah.
just with my business. And that's for 2 vehicles. I'm about $500 a month. So I don't know how you can run a whole,
Well, the fuel may only be the town building, I think, that runs off of oil and.
no, this would be automotive,
This would be their vehicles.
Yeah.
it's not heating oil.
But
it's
they had, it
automotive.
has to be more than $2,000.
Mhm.
Gosh, I went through that in like a month, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On my car, once in that project, okay.
My light's on in my truck right now and I filled up 3 days ago.
Filled
Buy
up
a
twice
Subaru.
yesterday.
That's what I've got.
I can't pull my trailer, I can't pull my
Mine
trailer.
doesn't get good mileage.
You know what my new
Well,
one
that's 'cause the way
does?
you
It's
drive
a
it.
17.
It's because the way you
I
drive
think
it. And,
Well-
and the motor you have,
It makes, put your foot in it.
It does.
It
I
does.
won't argue.
I know.
It screams at me.
Mine just automatically increases if I'm on the highway and all of a sudden I'm going 80 instead of 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you're driving too
Cars.
slow.
Yeah.
So any other questions on the
Okay,
streets?
it was just the lights, no, that wasn't it.
It was
Utilities.
just
The weekend duty and the fuel.
Medical,
Okay,
dental.
got it.
Well, medical dentals went from 30 to 18.
I think
Well,
that's something that
it's
we need
just-
to clarify. the
It's on
post-
all of
the
these,
base, yeah.
so that
Run down
is
all of
a
them.
Do
major.
we have a rift going on we don't know about?
Well, yeah, it kind of is.
So it looks like we have a sizable donation expected for $11,000.
What was that?
Where's that at?
Second line.
Pool fund.
For revenue.
Yeah, donation, yeah, $12,000.
Part, that's the part, yeah. that's
Is
the-
is that $12,000 donation, is that the pool cover?
Donation.
Yes.
Ah,
I'm
yeah.
certain.
That's the pool cover.
You're right.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true from the
That's Rotary.
expected from Rotary, you're
Yeah.
right. Good-
I'm not
good
sure what the
thinking,
splash
yeah.
park grant is because no one has applied as far as I know, and as much as I've researched it, there's
And the
no
park-
5,000 that I see.
And the park improvement grant for $250,000? Does anybody know anything about that?
No.
So
That must
that
include
was-
the wading pool.
That
That would be
must
the
be.
Well, it was something that we applied for,
last year.
didn't get approved last year, so,
Yes,
you know,
maybe
we're probably
trying to
gonna
get it
reapply this
maybe
year.
But how can you put it in as revenue if you don't have it?
Well, because it'll be an expense too. I mean,
It's-
it's, you put it in there in your budget just in case you do get the grant. And then if you don't get the grant, you don't have the
There
expense.
was, yeah.
So it's fine,
It's-
it needs to be there.
One isn't-
If not, we have to do a resolution
We
later
just
in
have
the
to
year.
balance the big budget, we don't have
It's
to.
in the
You have the
35.
previous year's budget.
I get what you're saying, I get what you're saying.
Well, it looks like the actual, I don't think that can possibly be that
Just
low.
on this,
What-
backing up on the streets, curbs and sidewalks for 3,000. You can't replace any sidewalks here for $3,000.
That's not replacing sidewalks, that
Well,
would
we
be
don't
any
replace
damage that
sidewalks.
they cause, if they gotta replace a water
Okay.
main or something like
Right,
that.
yeah.
If they gotta cut a section of curb out to do a water main.
So is
I
this
can
one
definitely tell you,
2,000?
yeah, you
know,
can't
like what
replace
we
any
did?
part for
He does,
$3,000.
yeah, oh boy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I know, I'm going through that now. Putting in
It's
one.
given that.
Okay, so we have any specific questions on the pool, the park fund?
Yeah, I do.
Except for the pool, well, we got that one, what's that?
That's pool cover.
Well, our pool revenue needs to be questioned too, because, well, it could
Well,
be much
actually,
higher
19.
because we have a more.
Well, you
Well,
might end up
but
with
you
more,
don't know
so it
that
might
for
be
a-
okay.
But under
Everybody's really
permits,
expensive.
under permits and license, we went from $300 to $3,300.
Where you,
Permits and license under expenditures.
under expenditures are.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you taking?
And then you have travel, school, and training also went up $5,000.
So are we gonna question everything or?
Well, we need to question
We
why
should.
we did it. I mean, there's gotta be a
Yeah.
reasoning. You know, your park expense went down $500.
Oh, and then we have a pool cover over here.
Yeah, under capital outlay.
For $17,000.
Thought it
So,
was-
Yeah, it's
remember,
It was
Yeah,
expensive.
but you've
That's
also
right,
got
that
under
was there.
donations.
we got the donation of 12, so there's a 5 difference, which I'm thinking is that 5 that was transferred in earlier on in the budget.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
You know,
That would make
five
sense.
From
Yeah.
general fund.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Okay.
And then we have the splash park.
These are just expenses that may happen, but if we don't get the grants, they're not gonna
Yeah, the
happen.
major pool repair, that's the 250 we were talking about, and then the splash park's the 35 we were talking about. And we have
Grants just
no,
have to be applied for.
no contingency.
I'm assuming this proposed on the snow must be something similar to year-to-date actual.
Are we on Head Start?
Oh,
Oh,
I skipped
Head
over.
Start.
Oh, there's nothing
Nothing
there.
there.
Sorry.
That funding is over, but we
It's
have to
over.
carry it
Carry
over
it
for
over, yeah, for
years.
some
Yeah.
years, yeah, okay. So,
It looks like these numbers might.
It was a federal grant, which the town had to manage the money for them to build that. So we were like the person that paid the bills.
Yeah, you were the bank.
Yeah, that was the plan, so that's over now.
Yeah.
All right.
Plan, I believe.
It's 21 and this is 20, it was 26. It's
20.
Okay.
The one got spent, yeah.
okay, so snow flood,
Right in the yeah.
any questions on snow flood?
No,
Okay.
I'm assuming those are pretty actual numbers.
Okay, Woodstock replacement fund is just basically pretty much the same. It's like a little bit more income. Big analysis.
Is that, if I'm correct, is that a grant that
Yeah.
comes in?
That should be a
And
grant
then
through.
you buy stoves to replace?
Yeah, it's through
Yeah.
Energy Organizers, it was through.
DEQ has
The
a
Energy
program.
Trust.
Yeah, the energy trust, it's
Yeah.
federal money.
Because we actually had three of our rentals last year, that we were able to qualify for those and have wood stoves.
Yeah, get the,
Yeah, we try to do that for our owners every year, we try to get
I'm trying
some
to
of that
think,
grant money to get some of those replaced.
Yeah.
Darwin, do you remember what DEQ puts out for stove
Well, I
replacement?
mean, there was 750,000 2 or 3 years, well, 3 or
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah,
But that money's all gone. This is separate, and I don't remember how it all got started, but this is, money will loan out and then it gets paid back. And so we have, beginning fund balance of pretty much everything, and a little bit of interest, and then paybacks. And we haven't really used this that much, that's why this payback's only at 400. And then, if we want to use this money, we put it right back into expenses or balance out at zero. So
Okay.
this is a fund that we just need to
It's more of a
maybe
loan.
advertise more and see if somebody wants to use it.
Well,
It's
there
more
was
of a loan
actually a
program
huge
than it
question
is-
Yeah, it's a
about
loan
that
program.
when
It's a
we were
loan
talking
program.
about the wood stove, and they told us it was all gone.
It is,
Because
yeah,
people-
DEQ money's all
It
Well,
is.
yeah,
gone.
but
This
then
is
we have
separate.
this option.
And this is only a loan, though.
This is a loan program, this
Yeah.
is not
But
a,
I'm saying they
Right,
basically
we just need
found
to
out an
advertise that
option.
this is an option.
Do we know,
But that ain't gonna pay for
They
that
put a
many,
lien on the
but it is,
property, right?
yeah, it's
at
a lien, I believe.
3,500, you're
Yeah.
gonna pay for about 5 of
Yeah.
them, 4 or 5 of them.
yeah.
Okay, so the bike path trails is pretty much just money in.
literally just wrote that to advertise that information more prior to winter, please.
Yeah, okay.
So the bike path, yeah,
There's just in and out kind of thing.
this is one you can say.
This is where the sidewalks and where, yeah.
Yeah, this is, yeah, I mean,
Did
this
it
is
help
one
pay
where I
for
think we
the,
should
uh,
advertise a little more about trying to spend it, because it just sits there.
Right,
Which
Year
ones,
after
where
year.
are we at?
the bike path and
I
trails.
mean, we've got 15,000 in sidewalks that can be done.
So,
I can
okay,
actually
that's-
spend some of it,
We're just gonna leave it the way it is in the budget.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the money wasn't spent, that's why the beginning fund balance is still.
Right.
Is this a loan or is?
I can
this
help
is-
you out with that, Darwin, I can submit my bill.
Yeah, because we, exactly because we
I
have
think
sidewalks
what
are
we've
nice.
done with the sidewalks before is that it is like a loan, they have to pay it.
So is this a loan for this? as
I
well?
think it is,
That's how
yeah.
the program was
Yeah.
before, 'cause
There's
we
no
talked about that a
interest,
couple
though.
meetings ago.
Well, there's no
Yeah,
loan payment
you
line.
have to apply
Yeah.
for it and then make payments
Because they used to use it a lot.
Well, we used to have a lot more money in
Advertise
it,
it,
you know,
too.
but now it's pretty
Because
desperate.
we have a
Yeah, right on the-
business that has been asking about
Yes.
That's not what I saw.
Yeah, well, it was more, you know, every once in a while the state would give it.
So they get interest because of the special money?
If decided
No one
not
else
to
is
do
getting
that
interest?
anymore.
Well, it's interest because it's in a separate account that just sits there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it does collect interest.
Okay, so,
Okay.
so we're,
Okay, so we're on program support.
Program support, yeah.
One big chunk was the number one fund.
Well, and $60,000.
So what, I
fund
mean-
balance to,
It's a lot less than before.
Yeah.
Transferring,
Where did it go?
There's 60.
well, do you go to the,
That went to the park fund. 67,500 went to the park fund, and 84,000 went to 911.
but where's the transfer?
oh, there it is, under transfer program support. We had a question
Oh,
about
there
where
it
it
is.
came from.
Okay.
So it came, so it's coming from there. From this line item.
Okay.
Next one. The building fund.
I mean, there's, am I the only one that was wondering why there's a $60,000 difference in the beginning fund balance versus adopted from the year before?
Should they spend it?
Well, why are, well,
Probably what it's about there.
other than, I mean,
Always transfers on this, I always worry about them, because they're essentially stolen from another department, for what reason? And Nobody, was the auditor saying about it, or
Actually, the auditor
doesn't even look at that?
has no problem with it.
As long as they see it in and out.
Yeah.
If they see it out but no in
But
somewhere.
the water and
Then-
sewer,
then-
whichever it is, one of those two is not supposed to be spent on anything other than water
Right,
and sewer.
right.
I'm gonna assume it's probably the water because sewer is being spent.
So,
It's all part of fund accounting. Normally in a business, all of this stuff would be all on one P and L and stuff,
Yes.
but with governmental agencies, this is,
Because you gotta break it out by fund.
yes, you've got a special fund for this. a
Whereas
special
what
fund
you
for
and I
that.
deal with, it's on one P and L, and we can look at it and go, oh shit, we need to make more
Oh,
money.
I dealt with this a lot when I was working for the forecasting blocks.
Oh, I bet you did.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so the building fund is pretty much is staying the same, it looks like
Yeah.
nothing's been spent in it. Okay. Your fire, is it fire truck?
Fire
fund?
truck
Okay,
fund, yeah.
okay. And that's reserved for only fire trucks.
Not buying one of those anytime
No?
soon.
We got one for free.
Okay,
Oh,
the
perfect.
transit
Did you buy it?
housing tax, this is what we questioned about how much income we were actually getting.
So the
I
lodging
thought
tax
the numbers were,
Who's looking at that?
went up 5,000, proposed to go 5,000 this year.
I
Yeah.
thought the numbers were higher than that. Or I guess in a meeting we were told they were higher than that, but,
No.
yeah, she said it was 80,000 in a meeting.
The last meeting when we talked about how much she did, she said she thought it was around 60. Now the one,
Yeah, it was after that.
what was after that one? It was the one I missed, because I only missed one.
Yeah, well, that's what we said 80, she said 80 because we thought it was 100.
Oh, okay. Because I know she'd mentioned 60 a few times since
So
I've been here.
basically, she's showing us spending it even though we have no projects necessarily lined up.
but they're down there, so that we can spend it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's fine.
No big questions on
Okay,
that.
next one is
Systems development.
systems development,
Yeah, those are some.
water, sewer, streets, and parks. No expenditures
No,
yet?
yeah, we should. Well, there's a
Yeah, she's-
$38,000.
So what is
Either
the,
that or her thought is that she's holding this money for the water project.
That's what,
That was my thought when
Yeah.
I looked at this.
okay,
But that's.
Just for a
that-
match,
Huh?
for a match, or?
Yeah, yeah. That's my thought. I mean,
Yeah,
it'd be
because
totally
they're
off
gonna be
base.
way
Pretty
higher.
contingency plan.
Plus, if you have a pretty big failure, you use that money there.
So no,
right.
no
Yeah,
questions
no,
there.
that's
And
no
we're,
questions,
it's just a
nothing.
matter
Yeah.
of time when we're gonna have a major failure in this water system.
the Bullard Canyon project?
10,000 coming from snow removal.
So there's a, I'm not even sure why there's a line on this grant, but we don't have a line on it. We
We're
know,
in the Bullard Canyon.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Because I think they've applied for that grant.
is that what it is? That's what I was wondering.
I think so.
Or if it's an old one.
So, yeah, I mean, this budget line's been in
Fire protection, yeah.
You know what, the fire protection, they've been cutting a lot of,
there. Yeah, we have a contract on that, so.
huh?
The Juniper?
Juniper.
Yeah, they got,
And we have contacted with,
ODF.
private guy, I can't remember his name, but he did it.
But yeah, it says.
Well, it was through ODF and he did it for
Right,
ODF.
because that's what it
So
says,
this is one of
Juniper
those-
call ODF, so
I asked it last year at the same time, from snow removal. From what everyone was told, that snow removal's caps at 50,000, not supposed to be charged the dollar a month after that.
Right.
And then, but then once it gets below, then you start adding back onto the bill, but
but they're
how we
transferring-
can transfer money from a snow removal program.
Because then it never stops
into
charging
this.
us.
Right.
Yeah, and like, I don't understand how this is even legal or possible.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
So we need to have a big clarification on
Wasn't
this,
that,
'cause
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
it
page,
needs to come from somewhere, it needs to come from just town hall, you know, continuously, maybe
Yeah,
water,
because if-
sewer, something else, but.
If the people
I think
voted
the water
in,
line would be.
if the people voted in $1
Yes.
for snow removal up to $50,000, and then we're not paying it until it drops below that.
Well,
We
it's not
can't
gonna drop.
transfer-
It's never gonna drop.
Right, we can't transfer money out
Yeah.
of that account,
Yeah.
it has to be used for snow removal only.
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, that's right, I didn't catch that one when I looked at that.
Does the town do
But I
Do
think,
they plow up Bullard Canyon?
No.
Okay.
That's actually up to, it's actually a county road.
Okay, okay.
oh, okay, so.
That clarifies that.
So it's not them plowing up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So if it's
Yeah.
Well,
plowed
I
up,
was wondering
if it's
if,
plowed up a ways, the county
if
does.
they're plowing it,
Mhm.
No.
is that why the money got
Right.
transferred there?
Do you guys want to take a break for a minute?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I was gonna be eating a
I'm
corner.
watching these two over here
No,
stuff
we're
their
good.
faces. so-
I'm listening.
It's been like an hour.
Well,
Oh my God, Stubble Snivel.
I gotta eat again.
Well, some of us have real jobs and have to go back to work.
Yeah, whatever. I dare you to, I challenge you to take mine for this.